Okay. Hey, this is a more casual video, and it's kind of like my rant of like talk about tips. Tipping is fucking stupid. Let's just say I live in a place in North America, and this thing is I'm not fully against tipping, honestly. I mean, I think it's a little gesture should be counted as a bonus, not mandatory. And tipping is definitely not mandatory in most of the cases, and I don't think it should ever be because it destroys the entire point of like tipping. But yeah, let me just say that like if you go to some places and you don't tip, people are gonna look you not great, and you better believe that like if you sit at a restaurant and you don't tip, you'll be safer not to go back to that place again because you don't know what's gonna happen next. Obviously, I can't just go around and just say that and ruin the reputation of many restaurant, etc. And I'm just gonna say that like you might just notice some looks of some people that after they take like your bill that you paid them for. And I think tipping restaurants fine. That's one thing I'm okay with. Okay, 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 right? I said the word okay. I don't think it's. I think where you're tipping for like places that you don't have to do anything that people literally don't do, like they don't serve you. Like if you go to fast food or maybe like Starbucks or like a bakery that they everywhere just put a fucking jar. They just put a jar and just put like a few coins in it and expect people to do that. I mean, first of all, who even fucking carries coins? Things are literally so expensive that you like coins literally do not nothing. Like $10 is the new change. Changes used to be coins, but $10 is literally the new change. That's how bad it is, and it is unfortunate that things are getting this way, and these places that are trying to force tips are trying to get even more out of you, which I think is like very disrespectful to the customer and to themselves because they don't respect themselves either. Obviously, it's a business; they want to make money, but they don't respect for the business they are. So, two things. First, we'll talk about this first. Do servers really deserve to have the potential to make more than people with more important professions? No, and I think like even if you're server, you're probably agree with that. Like if you think that you're putting plates on a table and cleaning after them is super important, like if you think that's the hardest job, then like I'm pretty sure like working at a nursing home is already harder than that. And I think like by default, nursing homes, the people that work at nursing homes should make more than a lot of people, not just servers. Respect to servers, I don't think their job is easy. And like I think tips are fine that way as a compensate, but not it shouldn't be like a mandatory thing. Like there are people that are servers that make more than fucking nurses that work at hospital. These people are trying to save lives. They might not succeed, but like sometimes it is the way it is. Like I think whatever nurses are doing in the hospital will probably be more valuable than whatever servers are doing. I mean, obviously servers can do some things to change people's lives as well, but like work in a hospital and a nursing home, just these two alone, I think are way more important than whatever any servers do. Respect to servers. I know it's a very hard job. I've been in the food industry, not necessarily a server, but I mean, I've worked kind of with servers. Like, food industry is fucking scary. It's probably one of these most volatile, so that's like why they're trying to squeeze every penny out of you. Like the way I like the expression is that like if you're trying to do the math, it's okay. The people that are like making you pay the money or did the math for you. They already did the math for you, so like you don't have to worry about any of the math because they already did it. They already count the costs and all that stuff, so you don't have to worry about a single thing. And yeah, I think it's pretty fair to people that are I would consider and should be universally agreed with more important professions should be paid more than any servers ever. Like, like honestly, if a doctor saves your life, I think it's more makes sense that you tip the doctor or the nurse than the server. Because they saved your fucking life. Unless you don't want to live your then that's a different story. But even then, that's like they did something. You can say that that's their job. It's server jobs also to literally serve people. It's not to take tips, right? I don't think people. I bet like doctors make X amount of dollar, but like that is true. I do agree that servers are being not paid a lot, so that's why the tipping part is like being tipped. People try to squeeze every penny out of it because they try to create this narrative. They try to not they don't create this. They use the narrative that like servers are being paid really low to try to squeeze every penny out of it. But like That's it shouldn't be the customer paying for them. That's stupid. It should be the owner. It should be the owner. If you can't afford them, don't hire them. Do not hire them. People are like, oh, the economy is bad. It was fucking bad for everyone. Do you think it's just bad for you? Like, are you fucking that deluded to be like, oh, just bad for me, so I have to take it things from everyone? Then, if you don't have the power, you just fucking beg on the street, and you have the power to strip from people. Then, like, I mean, like, it's definitely not illegal to do that, but like, you're not as righteous as you think. If you think of like, oh, I can do it, if I can do it, I'm gonna beg. If I can do it, I'm just gonna squeeze everything out of people. If that's what makes you happy, go ahead. Like, that's what it is. The math. This is a bit more problematic. So I live in a place. So there's this thing called tax. So everything I go and has a tax and basically plus tips. So this is like I'll explain this in a few stages, but I'll talk about like that's just what it used to be. 13% plus 12%. So this is like if you do the math, it's pretty easy. Um, sometimes 10, but okay, so sometimes 10%. So I hope you get this picture around. This is around 23 to 25%. Maybe something a bit less because the way I do is that I usually round up the dollar if I ever go eat at a restaurant. I don't really go out to eat at a restaurant, especially after this. Like I used to do a time, and I feel like if the server's nice, I'll give them a little bit more because I'm happy. They made me happy, and I hope they're happy as well. And so this is what it kind of used to be. And then I think after COVID and then this number could just go. Shit, I have to reload this thing. This thing sometimes just doesn't work. Okay, so sometimes, guess what? This becomes 15%. This is like, well, most of this, like, this is like, these are like not. I'll put this unspoken expected tip. Obviously, I don't have any research paper or anything to back this up, but this is kind of like what the servers would expect to get from this. So if you do the math and add this together, it's a lot of percent. 13 plus 18% is literally 31%. If you're spending $10 to eat, you're paying over $13 for lunch. And the thing is that the thing that makes it worse for restaurant because restaurants have gone shittier. It's like it's not debatable. All of them have gone shittier. The portions are worse. The food tastes worse because they use cheaper quality things. The people feel worse because they have less customers, so they have worse behaviors, and everything just goes like a down spiral. Obviously, this is a generalization, doesn't happen everywhere. There may be some places that get better, etc., etc. But like, this is the general thing. If you go outside 10 times, I mean, sorry, 8 times out of 10, you're probably getting that. Maybe one or two times you're getting some decent things, and maybe one time's even worse to expect. Like, does this sound good to you? Like, this is not great, right? But and like, and this is the other thing. Service charge are random fees. I don't know if it's because people stop paying tips or stuff like that. Um, personally, I all I've really been going nowadays to go outside eat, it's been fast food. I would pick the cheapest thing that I think is the cheapest deal, and then just eat there, and just don't go out eat for at least like one more week. I go to eat like every once a week. Back then, it might be 2 or 3 times, and restaurant used to maybe be like once every 2 weeks or once a week. Now it's like once every month or 2 months. Service charge, random service fee, or whatever the fuck they want to say. So I don't know if it's because people don't pay tips, which is like whatever. And honestly, when I was like, I used to work at a place that like it wasn't a fast food, but like there was a jar or like the tipping thing on like the fucking thing when you pay for your credit or debit card. Every time a person doesn't know how to use it, I'll be like, yo, I'll just press the 0% for them. Like I do not give a shit about tips. I think it's the most funnest thing, and actually, I don't know. I think the people that work there were not super happy about it, but like I was like, dude, do you think you really fucking earned it? I mean, like it's. I feel like it's encouragement of him. But I'm like, yo, bro, just don't even worry about tipping, and just let them go. But yeah, service charge, like at your bill, at the bottom of the bill. So I kind of got off track, but like, let's say like restaurant name. This is like a format. I'll try and draw a format of this. I say like you got like one plate of I don't know like fucking chicken wings or something, and then like some random stuff, and then there'd be like tax, and then like service charge, and then total. So some places do this. They would just add a random 12% on your bill. I hope this makes sense of how fucking absurd this is. They just add a random thing up to your random bill for no reason. Like this is like let's say like this is like X amount of money for your chicken wings. There's like your tax, service charge, and then a total. Now that's your total. This total is gonna be fucking gruesome. Because every time you're like, oh, I'm spending $60, yeah, guess what? That's like a fucking $80. Maybe 70 something, but like it's like the prices you eat don't match the menu, whatever you're getting. That's like it's not good. And like the bigger the margin, the worse it is. I feel it's a really big problem. And some places, this you cannot escape this. It depends. Some people like they might call different names or whatever. So some service charge places like they put it at the front of the restaurant, which I think is like a bit more fair because you know where you're getting into. But some places they don't do that. They just hand you the bill, and then at that point you're kind of too late to um like deal with it, right? Because you're like, damn, I already ate this restaurant, I ate other food, and like you kind of don't want to. I mean, there's obviously like laws like, oh, by whatever law you cannot do this, etc. But there's people just want to get out of here, man. They go to work the next day, so people would just rather do that and probably just never go again. And like, so yeah, this 12% is a lot. So another thing, the math, 12%. What's 12% times 8? It's not 100. It's actually 96. 96. It's almost 100%. So like, the way you do this is not like it. It's like getting eight. I think 8 persons versus 9 people. I don't remember the exact ratio, but like you can afford to have one less person and get the same amount of dollars in your into your pocket. And it's even better because you're not spending anything for this 12%. You're just writing on the bill. You're just adding 8%. I mean, you might lose a customer, but I feel like owners are not smart enough to realize that, or they're just honestly they're probably just too greedy. They're probably smart. They're just too greedy to realize that. But like you're just making people leave. Like I feel like tipping are just gonna murder restaurants really bad, or it's gonna be some other way. It's not gonna end pretty. And another thing, I'll go back to this: 12% to 12% plus 13% plus 12%. So here's what some places do. Um, here I'll do some math, like actual math. Shit. Here's what some people do. They do this. I don't know which programming I used to use, but this is multiplication. This. I don't know if you get what this means. This is always like the total plus tax times the 12%. And if you know anything about math, this is this. X1 plus. In this place, we call it FOIL, but this is what it looks like. 1 plus 0.25 plus 0.13 times 0.12. So if you notice this, if you do 1 plus just do the addition, it would just be 1.25. But now you have this extra thing. This fucking thing 0.13 times 0.12. It's not a lot, honestly. Oh, sorry. I cut off a bit. I didn't say that clear. This. That's what it looks like. You have this extra little 0.12 times 0.13. If you do the math, it's obviously not a lot. I think it's like 0.01. So it's like extra 1%, which is people are like, wow, it's just a cheapskate. If you can't afford, don't go to 8, which I'm like, that's my response. That's why I like never, almost never go to eat. Like I think if I count the amount of meals I have, if I ate 100 meals, 99 of them are like at home, or maybe some of them maybe in fast food at most, maybe. And that 1% is maybe at a restaurant. And every time I feel fucking awful because everything's just worse. It's like terrible. And yeah, and this one I think it's like 1.26 something. I'm not gonna do math. It's not a math video. But like all you have to know is like this part is a little bit added, and some places do this, so it's even more scummy because they multiply the tax and then they multiply the service charge. So you're not timesing by one. This is not 12%. I mean, it is, but like it's not really 12% because of the where they're adding it. They're trying to slip under line. So you like if you ever pay a bill and you live fucking North America, you might want to check this out if they do stuff like that. So recently, living in a place that did this. Hey, guess what? No tax. That's great, right? Because what does no tax means? Means that like the 13%'s gone. 13%, it's a lot of money. 13% is a lot to spend, right? Because every time when you pay $10 becomes 13. Sorry, I mean it becomes 11.30. So now that 130 is gone. But guess what? Some places do. All the places, a lot of places. I don't want to say all the places. Some places I have respect for, but because they have respect for themselves. Here's what some places do: this. They either increase the price or they literally add a mandatory like 13% or 12% service charge immediately. And some places they even say that they also charge tax, which doesn't make sense because the government literally says that hey, we're not charging tax, so like the economy gets better or some shit like that. But like because you literally cannot take the tax in the honor of government if you're not paying him. Like maybe what I just said didn't make sense. You're not collecting. You're not the tax collector. You're a restaurant. You're not collecting 30%. They're just trying to pocket it. And sometimes these places do a combination of these things I just talked about: increasing prices, adding the mandatory 12 or 13%, or even just adding the tax and stuff. And like it's not good. It's not looking good. And like a lot of people have been discouraged to just go and eat in general. And I feel like all the restaurants are gonna die. Like it's gonna rain on them. It's almost like TV subscription. If you change from $20 to $40, guess what? Your revenue might have rise, but like your customers are leaving. And you're just chasing the numbers, that's fine. Because if you're doing it for short term, that is completely fine. Because in a few years, you're not gonna be a CEO, whatever. You're gonna probably like retire, and you're just gonna take the money. So like the people have to clean up the mess. That's totally fine. That's what people want to do now. Make a mess. It's making a mess is fine as long as you don't have to clean it up. Because someone else has to clean it for you. I feel like this is a really bad mindset for like tipping in general, and I feel like tipping has to go or has to do stuff because a lot of places that do like these no tax stuff is very illegal. It's not like a ethic thing. It's real. It's kind of they actually deserve it because a lot of places that do this are like, hey, if they treat the taxes like that, do they even pay taxes in the first place? And some of these places they're getting cracked down by the tax agencies. They're like, damn, these people don't pay taxes. They're gonna get a whooping. And honestly, it's good. It's a good thing because who knows how much taxes that they didn't pay when regular citizens like you and I are paying. So yeah, fuck tipping. Tipping's really stupid. I have some respect for it, but like the way it's going, it's literally like you're like begging someone for money, and if you give them $1, they're like, why are you only giving me $1? So if it is what it is, it can go to window, and I'll be glad to never see that thing again. And I'll be having a happier time going out to eat